Hello, my name is koda.kailin and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Comic Sans and defending Comic Sans, the goated font. A quick story time before I get into why Comic Sans is so goated and why you should be using it for your first draft, always. In college, in my social media class, my friend Evan and I did a podcast assignment on New Times Roman versus Comic Sans, and kind of just like a fun little debate style podcast on which one's better. I also did a presentation last semester in community engagement where we had to kind of facilitate a little teaching moment, and what I did is I kind of did mine on how to start writing, kind of how to get past that first blank page. But I also had to slide in that presentation about you should be using Comic Sans for your first draft to help you write it. And I got kind of some mixed reviews. Some people thought it was kind of weird. Some people thought it was kind of hard to read. Because I actually made them do kind of an activity where they had to write a scene in Comic Sans. Some people actually liked it. Some people actually felt like it helped them. But yeah, here's my video on defending the absolute goat that helps me write my first drafts. The first point I kind of want to go into on why Comic Sans is such a goat is because of its non-mirrored letters. Just how it looks, it's not symmetrical like the letters, so it's actually a lot easier for people who have dyslexia to read, because in their brains it kind of gets all jumbled together because it looks so similar. But Comic Sans is really unique, kind of like handwriting. So it's actually quite easier for people with dyslexia to read it. For me personally, the notes I'm reading off of right now are literally in Comic Sans. So it's kind of a childish font, I guess. So it makes me not wanna go back and read it, but it's not. But it's really loose and nice to write in, which is what I'm gonna get to in my second point. Comic Sans's loose and messy visual actually psychologically convinces you that you can write looser and more imperfectly, as opposed to writing in something New Times Roman, a very professional, perfect sans serif font. That kind of almost intimidates you to write perfect and amazing, beautiful prose. I find that using Comic Sans, it's a lot less risk, cause it's kind of ugly, it's that ugly draft, kind of handwritten font. So it's whatever I'm writing, this first draft, this first scene, this first sentence, it's not going to be perfect. It's in Comic Sans, it's not gonna be perfect. And I feel that's actually why Comic Sans is such a goat, because when you're writing in it, you're not going back, rereading things, editing lines, because it's not perfect. You know, the first draft isn't supposed to be perfect. Comic Sans is not perfect, and it kind of inspires you to just word vomit and just get all your ideas onto the page, because you're kind of just yapping. You're kind of yapping about your story in this really loose, messy font. And I know everyone's writing process is different. A lot of people, my professor or coordinator, for example, for the Bachelor of Creative Professional Writing, she was kind of telling us about how when she writes, she'll write a sentence, and then before writing the next sentence, she kind of goes back and edits that sentence and makes it perfect before going on to the next one. So she kind of feels that's all, move on next, solid, move on next, solid. Some people do it in longer chunks, they'll write a scene, edit the scene, go to the next scene, edit that scene, go to the next scene, edit that scene. Some people do it in parts, even bigger segments. I feel it's a bit convoluted to kind of go back and edit after your mind's already in drafting mode, because I feel when you're writing, and especially when you're writing that first draft, you kind of enter a flow state where just you're kind of trying to merge all of these ideas together, and have a scene maybe work as three different supports. Maybe the scene's kind of pushing character development, maybe the scene's pushing fleshing out your villain, and maybe at the same time the scene's pushing the big external conflict. But I feel going back to edit repeatedly is kind of invalidating the worth of the original content, as if your first line, your first sentence, your first paragraph isn't good enough to see through to the end. You have to edit it between to make it good enough to keep going. I feel you should just write it all the way through. I feel Comic Sans especially can help you just like lock in to the imperfection of what you're writing and inspire you to make it good and just get that you can just get that shit finished. Unless you have like dyslexia, it probably will be harder for you to read Comic Sans as opposed to like New Times Roman, which is designed to be streamlined and speed readed. So honestly, reading in Comic Sans will make you a lot less tempted to go back and reread any like cringy lines and want to re-edit cringy lines, because it's literally like harder to read. Because at least for me, I want to just like stay in the headspace and just like keep writing and lock in and get my scenes written. I feel like since Comic Sans is so gross to look at, it really demotivates you from trying to make the first draft perfect off the bat, and puts more importance into the editing process afterwards with the second and third drafts. And you can even change your draft from Comic Sans to New Times Roman after you finish writing the first draft, to kind of put your brain back in like that structured editing, logical mode. Because I feel like writing in Comic Sans almost helps you embrace the right side of your brain and your creativity, and lets you drop the facade of like perfect vocabulary and English mastery. Right. It honestly just helps you write. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it just makes you want to just like keep going. And I have like a really interesting setup where I have it on my tablet, so there's like no page breaks. It's just kind of like one long like scroll as if you're reading like an e-novel. Yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. You can see some like content ideas I want to do. Yeah, and I also do it in dark mode, so it really feels like I'm kind of just writing infinitely into the void. But I kind of love it because it's like, one argument against Comic Sans is that it's like bigger. It takes up more space because there's more line spacing between the letters. So it kind of makes you feel like you're writing more than you really are. But I've kind of had like the adverse effect where like I'm just writing into like the void like infinitely, and then I check my word count and like I've already written like 10,000 words. But I do attest to Comic Sans working and just making you want to just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Even for like your plotting and your planning for your story, I feel like should be done in Comic Sans, because like that information might change later down the road, and it shouldn't be like set in stone on like what their character development is going to look like, because they're probably going to be influenced by the random decisions you make while writing anyways, or maybe they'll even take the reins and try to control their own story a little bit. So Comic Sans is the GOAT because it's better for people with dyslexia to read. It's loose and messy visual, convinces you don't have to write perfect and beautiful prose. So you can just word vomit and get the first draft written. It's also harder to read, so you're less tempted to go back and reread those cringy lines and keep editing and never getting the draft finished. And finally, it's just a font. You can change it back to New Times Roman if you don't like it, or if you want to just get back into editing mode and edit later, once you're done writing your first draft in Comic Sans. I've personally been writing in Comic Sans since I was like 11 or 12. Because I remember watching Hunter x Hunter, like the anime, when I was like Gon's age, and then writing like a freaking like fan fiction of like literally me in Hunter x Hunter. I literally named it like my dead name X Adventure. Like, what are we doing? But that draft was literally written in Comic Sans, so you know I was repping the GOAT all the way back then. And since then, I've pretty much written, like, all of my stories in Comic Sans. Like, I don't think there's any, like, story I can think of where I was just writing in Arial or writing in New Times. And I only really do that for, like, assignments now. And, yeah, I hope that it works for whoever, like, tries it. I've, like, talked to, like, multiple of my friends about it and tried to, like, sway them over to the dark side. The better side, in my opinion. My friend Dylan was against it, but he was open to trying it, and now he writes in Comic Sans like all the time, and it's so nice, like for his draft work. I also showed my friend, my high school friend recently, the Comic Sans method, and they were very against it because they love to write in Arial. But we were writing on call together a couple nights ago, and they were like, "Okay, I'll try it, I'll try it, I'll try it." And they tried it, and I don't know if it worked for them. I'll have to ask them, but they're writing, they're going for it, and I'm proud of them. Yeah, honestly, only you will know if it's better to write in Comic Sans or not. But just speaking from experience, it's definitely helped me get more comfortable just word vomiting and I guess getting off my own dick about how good my writing is. Also, this is no hate towards New Times Roman. Please don't smite me. I love New Times Roman. It's just better for editing, in my opinion. Yeah. This was Defending the Goat Comic Sans. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.